It is now my great honor to present the UCLA Department of Psychology candidates for the PhD degree. Candidates and faculty, please be seated. The Department of Psychology at UCLA acknowledges our presence on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Gabrielino Tongva peoples. Today is the culmination of a great achievement, the attainment of the highest academic degree from one of the world's finest universities. We can all feel great pride, especially you candidates, of course, for your singular accomplishment, and the rest of us too. You're the parents, partners, siblings, relatives, and friends of our candidates. You've contributed support and encouragement, tangible and intangible, often across many years, support that has been crucial to the remarkable achievements we recognize today. This is also a wonderful day for us, the faculty, because the adults we honor today have excelled during their years with us. Over time, they become our protégés, our colleagues, and our friends. The difficulty of earning a PhD should not be underestimated. First, the students must be accepted into our program. Our department's PhD program typically receives more than 800 applications each year, and the applications are among the very best in the nation. Only approximately 5% of those applicants enter our PhD program. Our new students complete advanced courses as well as a first-year research project. Then there are more courses, a lot more research, a written qualifying exam, a preliminary oral exam, and a dissertation oral defense. Some students also have clinical practicum training integrated with their research training. In addition to cultivating deep knowledge in psychology, often students develop expertise in diverse areas, ranging from neuroanatomy, linguistics, and endocrinology, to health services, education, genetics, and sociology. Throughout all this time, we encourage and expect the very best from our students. Our graduate programs are ranked among the best in the world, and we realize that our graduates are our representatives, that our stature is based in considerable part on your academic accomplishments during your time at UCLA and going forward into your own careers. All of you chose a rare, difficult path, which involved many choices about time, energy, sleep, health, and a lot more. We recognize the challenging path you've completed, a path we chose years ago, but in important ways, it's been more challenging for you. You experienced a global pandemic during graduate school and a number of other forms of strife and growth that we faculty didn't experience as doctoral students. We're deeply impressed with your persistence, and we're thrilled by your success. To give you some ideas of the accomplishments of the graduates we recognize today, let me cite a few statistics. They've given more than 349 conference presentations. They've published more than 218 scientific articles. They've served as teaching assistants for 230 academic quarters. They've received more than 114 major awards. This productivity surely exceeds the accomplishments of the entire faculty of most psychology departments. Years from now, we'll see the names of many of our graduates among the leaders in their field. With great pride, we now recognize our graduating doctoral students in the company of their family and friends. Before introducing our graduate speaker, I'd like to identify 4 of our department staff who work especially closely with our graduate students and have been deeply involved in their support during graduate school. Lisa Lee. Lisa is our graduate advising supervisor and just a wonderful support all the way through for our graduate students. Elizabeth Franks is our graduate services coordinator. Kathy Sung is our graduate program advisor. And Diego Garcia is our instructional scheduling coordinator. Our heartfelt thanks to all of you. It's now my distinct pleasure to introduce the doctoral candidate selected by her colleagues to offer this year's graduate address. Will Dr. Kimberly Martin please join us on stage?
Thank you, Dr. Stanton, UCLA faculty and staff, custodial and dining service workers, family and friends, and fellow PhD graduates. We have come a long, long way. Those words were spoken by Martin Luther King Jr. on April 27th, 1965, here on UCLA's campus at the Jan Steps, really, really close to where we are right now today. And I want to emphasize that we have come a long, long way in our individual lives and accomplishments as a collective community and historically. Looking back, UCLA was established in 1919 and is one of the only top universities that had Black students enroll from its inception. To be clear, there were not many of us Black students here at the time. And in fact, back then, Black students were not allowed to participate in many campus activities or even to live near campus. We have come a long, long way. The UCLA Psychology PhD program was established in 1937, which means the first psych PhD students on this campus enrolled during the Great Depression and were in graduate school during the Second World War. And so there is a long and rich history of psych PhD students on this very campus persevering through global turmoil and in pursuit of their goals, just as we have as students who entered our PhD program before the COVID-19 pandemic and graduated during the pandemic. I personally entered grad school in 2017 with the election of a new president and an NFL football protest in full effect, calling attention to the unarmed killing of Black people by police. In the middle of graduate school, the COVID-19 pandemic began, and then George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and so many others were killed by police. And I, like many of us, was heartbroken for our world and for our community, and trying to do my part to advocate for social change. And I was trying to figure out my dissertation. And this is only to mention the struggles that were captured by headlines. We've all endured so much and persevered through so much, personal, research, and other struggles. And yet, here we are today. We have come a long, long way. To my fellow graduates, we all entered UCLA with this goal set to achieve this PhD, but no idea what exactly lay before us. From being, I believe, the last group of students to sing about our statistics in Dr. Jennifer Kroll's class, to hours and hours and hours of writing and analyzing data, to reaching out to family and friends, many of whom are likely here with us today, to try to figure out what does this all mean, to the world shutting down as we experienced the COVID-19 pandemic and began to search for how to maintain and build connections, how to survive, how to grieve, how to recover, and how to collect data and graduate in a much more virtual world. To this moment, where we are luckily and thankfully able to gather together and celebrate in person, and even just for a moment, exhale. I want to say to all of us today, sometimes in the midst of the turmoil and the chaos, injustice and confusion, we couldn't see exactly how we would get through it. And so we had to dream it, and we had to believe it, and we had to stay dedicated, and we did it. We as individual students, mentors, advisors, family and friends, and as a community, we did it. We did that. We got that degree, y'all. We have come a long, long way. And so let this journey we've experienced be a lesson. We have the strength and the power to do things we never imagined that we could do. Let us never again be tempted to believe or engage in actions that pronounce, I can't, or nothing can be done, or I have no power. Let us not be afraid to make waves and create the changes that we want to see in this world, and to dream beyond what any present circumstance may suggest is possible, and then go for that dream, because we have all accomplished this incredible milestone as individuals, as a collective community, and we are standing on a history and on the shoulders of ancestors who are cheering us on and who paved the way for us. So I'll say it one more time. We have come a long, long way. And I'll finish the quote by saying, but we still have a long, long way to go. While we once again are embarking on a new journey, and we don't know exactly what lies before us, may we always remember our power as individuals and as a collective community to achieve great things. And as we are today, let us remember to celebrate ourselves along the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Martin, for your words that are so meaningful to so many of us. I'd like now to present Professor Ted Robles, Vice Chair for Graduate Studies, who will announce the winner of the Dina Chertoff Graduate Student Service Award.
All right. Let me make sure I find the award first. Okay, perfect, great. All right. Good afternoon. Oh yeah, mask. Thank you. Dina Chertoff served as graduate advisor in our department for 38 years. She was Lisa before Lisa was Lisa. When she retired in 2009, the Graduate Student Service Award was established in her name to honor her caring service to countless graduate students and to the entire department. Now, this award honors a graduate student who has made outstanding contributions to the overall well-being of the students, faculty, and staff in the psychology department. And every year we have a truly outstanding group of nominees, all of whom make important and impactful contributions to our department. These choices are always difficult. But I am pleased to announce this year's recipient of the Dina Chertoff Graduate Student Service Award. It's Blanche Wright. Will Dr. Blanche Wright please come forward? And in the interest of time and to save you from the sun, I'm gonna start talking about what makes Blanche so awesome. So yeah, come up and you can stand maybe right here, but don't fall off stage. Blanche, I'd like to share with the audience a few of the reasons why you're receiving this award today. Step up a little more, I'm getting worried. First, I'll start with the last sentence of your nominating letter. Every effort that Blanche made during her time in our department was with the goal of improving the department for the people who are in it. Within the underrepresented graduate students in psychology, or UGSP student organization, She served as co-chair of the Undergraduate Outreach Committee for 3 years. She aided tremendously in creating an annual research assistant recruitment fair during fall quarters, which exposes undergraduates to different areas of psychology research, and we invite representatives from all the labs in psychology who are looking for undergraduate research assistants. She saw a strong need for such an event because there was no programming within the department to introduce undergraduates to different research laboratories. And over the years, this event has become what her letter writers describe as a crucial touch point for exposing students to various areas of psychology research, and she created a key branch in the pipeline connecting underrepresented undergraduate psychology students to an array of research opportunities. Now, speaking of adding branches to pipelines, Blanche spearheaded events oriented towards increasing the number of students interested in graduate school, including workshops on CV and personal statement development, how to find post-bac opportunities, and grad school options for those interested in psychology. She made sure that undergraduates were exposed to successful underrepresented graduate students who could discuss how they navigated their own paths to graduate school and make undergraduate students feel comfortable asking questions about diversity in graduate school. And she recruited fellow graduate students to serve as mentors at these events so that students had the opportunity for personalized feedback on their concerns in navigating their next steps. And finally, on our department's Diversity Issues Committee, Blanche was a consistent and powerful voice advocating for serious and thoughtful consideration of student experiences, particularly related to diversity and inclusion. So in addition to being a powerful presence in meetings with faculty and staff, she took strong action to spearhead and garner support for initiatives with key departmental leaders. She conducted a large survey of graduate student well-being and helped the department with early development of a proposed formalized grievance process for students. So thank you, Blanche, for enriching the lives of our community. Please join me in congratulating Blanche on receiving this award. I'm now pleased to present Professor Michelle Krask, who will honor the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022 for their contributions to research and teaching. There you go.
When you arrived at UCLA, you faced a daunting and unusual challenge, one that is intrinsic to our graduate program and to the profession that you have chosen. What we have asked of you is that you become both composer and performer, that you develop not only the skills to generate knowledge, but also the skills to communicate that knowledge. Research and teaching are the twin foundations of education. Both are essential, and neither is sufficient. Research is the process by which we create what we then teach. Teaching is the process by which we convey knowledge, understanding, values, and ultimately, the questions that fuel research. These two noble missions, research and teaching, demand the best of us. Research requires an enormous capacity for hard work, unique talents and commitment. It demands original and creative thinking, the ability to distinguish what is important from what is not, and at times a very high threshold for tedium. And at its noblest and its best, research also requires honesty and respect for others, a commitment to the ideal that research should be free of bias and of other inaccuracies, and that it should be carried out with a deep respect for the welfare of subjects and others who may be affected. To be a teacher, an educator, requires still more. Teaching is its own craft. It's a complex skill to be learned, not an innate gift one is born with. Being able to convey not only the facts of psychology, but also the excitement is both an art and a science. Becoming a teacher, in the hallowed sense of that word, is a unique opportunity, an honor, and a responsibility. And at its noblest and best, teaching requires a commitment to the craft of teaching, and a willingness to give of oneself, and a deep respect for what it means to be a teacher. Across your graduate careers, you have embraced, with eagerness and without complaint, the unique challenge of becoming both composer and performer. We are proud of you as scientists, and we are proud of you as teachers.
Thank you, Professor Krask. I'd now like to present Professor Laura Ray, who will announce the winner of the Joseph A. Gingerelli Distinguished Dissertation Award.
Hi, everyone. Hello, amazing graduates. Let me tell you about the Gingerelli Distinguished Dissertation Award. Professor Gingerelli, from whom this Dissertation Award was named, is remembered and loved for his teaching, inspiration, and guidance of students, and for his innovative research, excellence as a colleague, and departmental leadership. The candidates committees nominate dissertations for the Gingerelli Distinguished Dissertation Award, and a special faculty committee makes the final award decisions. The task of selecting one dissertation as the most outstanding is quite difficult. We view this as an opportunity to select one superior dissertation from among a set of many superior dissertations. Once selected, the award recipient will be considered for nomination to the biennial New York Academy of Sciences James McKean Cattell Award. Awardees do not find out they have won the Gingerelli Award until it is announced here today. So, it is my pleasure to announce Dr. Joshua Kane as the 2022 recipient of the Gingerelli Distinguished Dissertation Award. The title of Dr. Joshua Kane's dissertation is Identifying Deep Brain Contributions to Consciousness for Clinical Intervention in Severe Brain Damage with Transcranial Focused Ultrasound. The chair of Dr. Kane's doctoral committee is Professor Martin Monti. Dr. Monti will describe Dr. Kane's research.
Good afternoon. Well, it's a very proud moment for me to award the Gingerelli Distinguished Dissertation Award to Dr. Joshua Alan Kane, for his dissertation titled, well, you've heard it, and I think we still have to work on length of titles, but being an academician is a lifelong craft. Here at UCLA, we certainly are blessed with some really outstanding graduate students. And so it's a real testament to your abilities that you're receiving this award today. Let me just take a moment to say, what does it take to be outstanding among outstanding? I will say that at its core, our nomination, and I'm hereby representing not only myself as Josh's mentor, but the whole dissertation committee. At the whole of our nomination, at the core of our nomination, there was not only the high quality and rigor that we expect of our students, but there was the unusual novelty, the methodological breadth, and the real-world impact of his work. Let me tell you just a little bit about what this work is. Imagine somebody surviving a severe brain injury. Many people will wake up, thanks to modern medicine, will go on to make amazing recovery. There is, however, a sliver of these patients who wake up and enter a limbo of conditions known as disorders of consciousness. When they wake up, their eyes are open, they're either not conscious though, or just minimally so. And among the many things that are tragic about these patients is the fact that modern medicine has very little for them. And there's many reasons for it, and many of them are technical. One of the few things we can do is to actually do surgery and try to help them a little bit, but very few patients can do that. And the parts of the brain that are so important for these disorders and for recovering consciousness are tucked deep inside the brain, far away from the reach of existing techniques that don't require surgery. Well, that is until Josh's work. Josh focused on pioneering low-intensity focused ultrasound, a variant of the ultrasound you're all familiar with, to help get these deep parts of the brain re-engage and thereby help patients recover. His first task was to show that it is possible to modulate these parts of the brain. And he did so very successfully. We could see in real time that we were doing that. And this meant we can do it in patients, but not only. This means anybody in our field who's interested in studying these parts of the brain today can, thanks to the work of Josh. The second step of this dissertation was to actually go to patients and see if we could do this safely and if we could help them. Now, this was a tour de force. It was very hard. Some nights we let the patient go from UCLA at midnight, and Josh was there waiting for the ambulance very patiently. And he did show for the very first time ever we could use this technology to help patients, not only safely, these patients are better after it, at least for some amount of time while we were testing them. In fact, if you're curious, one of his works that came out of this one chapter, which I think is 3 papers to date and some more to write, don't forget, was published just about a year ago. As of this morning, was cited 27 times, which is huge in our field. That's impact. Finally, COVID stopped us in our tracks as we were doing this. So the last chapter, Josh decided that he'd give it back. And he decided he would help other people in this field use this novel technique. All novel techniques typically come with new technologies, and you have to master things that you would never expect you have to master, like understanding the deep physics of it, or understanding numeric modeling to prove that you're doing what you're doing. Well, Josh invented a small, very easy to use software that he made freely available for anybody who wants to use this technique. So today there's someone out there who would like to use this technique and can, thanks to Josh's work. That is impact. Let me close with one very short story from the work that he did. We were starting the patient work, and we would do this in 2 sessions. And after the first session, the wife of one of our patients comes to me and says, "I need more of this." To which, of course, I ask her, "What do you mean?" And she says, "After the first treatment, for the very first time, I had a conversation with my husband since the accident." It was something actually very simple. She noticed that he could look up and down consistently after this intervention, and so she would ask him questions and ask him to look up or down to say yes or no. Now, it's very small for us, but for the family, to finally have a channel to talk to your loved one again, the first simple conversation in over 2 years, now that is real impact. So I'll please ask you to join me in congratulating Dr. Kane in winning the 2002 Joseph A. Gingerelli Distinguished Award.
Okay, it's time. We will now present our candidates. We will now present our candidates, the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022, in formal recognition of their distinguished achievements and their contributions to the field of psychology. They are receiving the Doctor of Philosophy, the PhD, the highest academic degree awarded by the university. Now, doctoral hooding is a tradition that dates back to the 12th and 13th centuries. The blue velvet on the hoods that they're holding the blue velvet on the hood represents the PhD degree, and the blue and gold on the back represents UCLA's colors. The candidate and the faculty placing the hood on the candidate will be joined on stage by Professor Anna Lau, who served as Vice Chair for Graduate Studies from 2017 to 2021. Dr. Lau, please rise and step to the mark. Before I begin, I just want to say on behalf of all the faculty, staff, doctoral candidates, and graduate students, thank you, Dr. Lau, for your leadership, your service, and stewarding our graduate program both before and during, especially during the pandemic. Thank you, Anna. And now, will the candidates please rise, maybe step into the shade for a second, and form a line. Faculty, you may stand after I read your student's name, and after I call your name, you may make your way next to Professor Lau. We have 26 candidates who we are honoring with a PhD today. And I'm proud to present Dr. Amanda Alina Baker. She will be hooded by Professor Adriana Galvan. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Adriana Galvan, and the title of her dissertation is Neural Mechanisms Underlying the Development of Anxiety and Risk-Taking in Adolescence. I'm proud to present Dr. Joshua Kane. He will be hooded by Professor Martin Monti, and the chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Martin Monti. The title of his dissertation, I'm going to try it, is Identifying Deep Brain Contributions to Consciousness for Clinical Intervention in Severe Brain Damage with Transcranial Focused Ultrasound. I'm proud to present Dr. Maureen Gray. She will be hooded by Professor Keith Holyoke. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Keith Holyoke, and the title of her dissertation is An Analogical Approach to STEM Education. I'm proud to present Dr. Rejoice Green. She will be hooded by Professor Laura Ray. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Laura Ray, and the title of her dissertation is Interplay Between Cigarette and Alcohol Use, Etiological and Treatment Approaches. I'm proud to present Dr. John Guasi Morera. He will be hooded by Professor Jennifer Silvers. The chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Jennifer Silvers, and the title of his dissertation is Social Decision-Making and Close Others. I'm proud to present Dr. Anika Maya Guha. She will be hooded by Professor Gregory Miller and Professor Cindy Yee Bradbury. The co-chairs of her doctoral committee are Professor Gregory Miller and Professor Cindy Yee Bradbury, and the title of her dissertation is Identifying Neural Mechanisms of Aberrant Salience and Inhibitory Processing in Patients with Schizophrenia. I'm proud to present Dr. Marcy Hayden. She will be hooded by Professor Julie Bauer. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Julie Bauer, and the title of her dissertation is Helping Peers to Promote Well-Being, a randomized controlled trial testing the benefits of an online prosocial intervention in young adult cancer survivors. I'm proud to present Dr. Luis Jimenez. He will be hooded by Professor Tad Blair. The co-chairs of his doctoral committee are Professor Dario Ringash and Professor Tad Blair. And the title of his dissertation is Mechanisms of Orientation Tuning in the Mammalian Primary Visual Cortex. I'm proud to present Dr. Akila Kadambi. She will be hooded by Professor Hongjing Liu. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Hongjing Liu, and the title of her dissertation is Visuomotor Mechanisms Underlying Action Processing of the Self and Others. I'm proud to present Dr. Victor Kaufman. He will be hooded by Professor Benjamin Carney. Go ahead. Yep, you can go ahead. The chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Benjamin Carney, and the title of his dissertation is Social Relationships and Well-Being, Rediscovering the Importance of Adult Friendship. So thank you again to Dr. Lau. Now joining us for the hooding ceremony is another colleague who plays a critical role in the academic and financial well-being of our graduate students, Professor Hongjing Liu, chair of our TA Fellowship Committee. Again, speaking on behalf of the faculty, staff, doctoral candidates, and graduate students, thank you, Hongjing, for all the time, effort, thought, accounting math, and leadership that you put into making sure our students are supported. And now I'm proud to present Dr. Tamar Kodish. She will be hooded by Professor Anna Lau. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Anna Lau, and the title of her dissertation is Digital Mental Health Interventions for College Students of Color, Understanding Uptake and Enhancing Engagement. I'm proud to present Dr. Isabelle Lancer. She will be hooded by Professor Naomi Eisenberger and Professor Michelle Krask. The co-chairs of her doctoral committee are Professor Naomi Eisenberger and Professor Michelle Krask, and the title of her dissertation is Factors that Influence Loneliness, Exploring the Impact of Prosocial Behavior and the Impact of the COVID-19 Pandemic. I'm proud to present Dr. Junho Lee. He will be hooded by Professor Keith Holyoke and Professor Patricia Chang. The co-chairs of his doctoral committee are Professor Keith Holyoke and Professor Patricia Chang. And the title of his dissertation is The Role of Coherence in Reasoning About Social Issues. I'm proud to present Dr. Michelle Lynn Luna. She will be hooded by Professor Catherine Sandhofer. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Catherine Sandhofer, and the title of her dissertation is Increasing the Long-Term Retention of Words Learned from Shared Book Reading. I'm proud to present Dr. Kimberly Martin. She will be hooded by Professor Carrie Johnson and Professor Annette Stanton. The co-chairs of her doctoral committee are Professor Carrie Johnson and Professor Annette Stanton. The title of her dissertation is Black American Experiences in Healthcare, Past, Present, and Improving the Future. I'm proud to present Dr. Michael Parrish. He will be hooded by Professor Naomi Eisenberger. The chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Naomi Eisenberger, and the title of his dissertation is Understanding Self-Compassion, a Social Neuroscience Approach. I'm proud to present Dr. Carolyn Michelle Ponting. She will be hooded by Professor Denise Chavira. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Denise Chavira, and the title of her dissertation is Psychological Interventions for Pregnant Black Women and Latinas with Depression or Anxiety. I'm proud to present Dr. Gwendolyn Flesher Price. She will be hooded by Professor Catherine Sandhofer. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Catherine Sandhofer, and the title of her dissertation is Timing and Variability Support Children's Word Learning. I'm proud to present Dr. Jonah Price. He will be hooded by Professor Christine Dunkel-Shetter. The chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Christine Dunkel-Shetter, and the title of his dissertation is Cardiovascular Function and Cellular Aging Among Low-Income Mothers, Testing Effects of Discrimination and Racial Identity. I'm proud to present Dr. Isabelle Ramos. She will be hooded by Professor Christine Dunkel-Shetter. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Christine Dunkel-Shetter, and the title of her dissertation is Cultural and Psychobiological Processes in Pregnant Latina Women.
I'm proud to present Dr. Chelsea Elizabeth Romney. She will be hooded by Professor Theodore Robles. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Theodore Robles. The title of her dissertation is Hugs, Associations with Next Day Cortisol Awakening Response and Changes with Acculturation over the First Year of College.
I'm proud to present Dr. Dana Safan. She will be hooded by Professor Anna Lau. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Anna Lau, and the title of her dissertation is Determinants of Mental Health in the Context of Multiple Minority Status, an Examination of Muslim American Young Adults. I'm proud to present Dr. Benjamin Seitz. He will be hooded by Professor Aaron Blaisdell and Professor Janet Tomayama. The co-chairs of his doctoral committee are Professor Aaron Blaisdell and Professor Janet Tomayama. And the title of his dissertation is Specialized Learning and Memory Mechanisms for Foraging.
All right, there you go.
I'm proud to present Dr. Alex Siegel. He will be hooded by Professor Alan Castell. The chair of his doctoral committee is Professor Alan Castell, and the title of his dissertation is Examining Motivating Factors Influencing Attention, Memory, and Metacognition. I'm proud to present Dr. Jessica Oy. She will be hooded by Professor Adriana Galvan. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Adriana Galvan, and the title of her dissertation is Associations Between Peripheral Immune Markers, Neural Response to Stress, and Depressive Symptoms During Adolescence, the Role of Daily Stressors, Affect, and Sleep Habits. I'm proud to present Dr. Blanche Wright. She will be hooded by Professor Anna Lau. And the chair, go ahead, Blanche. The chair of her doctoral committee is Professor Anna Lau. And the title of her dissertation is Shared Decision-Making Following a Large-Scale EBP Implementation Effort in Publicly Funded Children's Mental Health Services, a focus on Latinx caregivers. Now, graduates, please stand again and face the audience. Family members, friends, and colleagues, I am pleased to present the classes of 2020, 2021, and 2022.
I want to thank all of you for celebrating this momentous occasion with us. Again, I invite everyone to join us on either patio for light refreshments. Graduates, welcome to the community of scholars. When you entered this venue, you and the faculty entered separately. We, the faculty, want to conclude this ceremony by leaving together with you as colleagues. Faculty, prepare to join your new colleagues. Ed, will our new PhDs please join the faculty in the recessional?